So the next step that I would do is I move from this, from these 4 pieces, and now I branch out to this layer over here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on these 4 corners of this part, these 4 corners of this layer of the center. I can tell what these are because they all look the same. They all have these little notches on it. But these are going to be cycled in exactly the same way as over here. So I'm basically going to rinse and repeat. I don't have to worry about the orientation of the centers because these are my keystones now. I'm completely free to just move them and rotate them and not worry about a thing. So what I want to do first, as I can tell, is I can just start moving things in here. This blue, I want to come down to here. So in one fell swoop, this should go over here. Or is it supposed to be this one? Which one is it supposed to be? This one or this one? Well, if this is the way it's supposed to be coordinated, let's see what this one looks like. And this is facing up. This is pointing up. So if this comes down here, I don't think this is going to be facing up when it comes in. So I'm going to move this over here, because when this cycles down here, this will be facing up. So it's actually this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to here. So now it's the same thing, but instead of using these layers, I'm using these layers. So I'm just shifting my attention to these 2 layers, and that will cycle these guys here. So forward, bang. And now this one, bang, zoom. So the concept is pretty simple. Find where your 3 cycles are supposed to be, and there this is over here, and it's pointed in the right direction. It's pointed in the correct direction. And this will come back over here. Okay, now that I put this in, let's put another one in that's right next to it. What do we have up here? I need green, orange, or purple. I've got an orange over here. This has no reason to be here, so I'm going to move this up so that it can be cycled. And now I'm going to turn it like this and do the algorithm twice, which will cycle it to here. So, bang, bang. This is why it's somewhat important for some of these puzzles to have an understanding of what these algorithms mean so that you can variate it should you need to. Turn, 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 and turn. Okay, now again, I'm not worried about the rotation at this point. I've done calibrated it. Okay, so this is correct. What? No, not yet. We have to do it twice. So, and again. Bang, bang, zoom, pow. I just have to really focus and concentrate on what layers I'm talking about. Splat. But I don't have to coordinate it with any other centers. I can do both of these in complete isolation with each other. So this is correct, and this is correct. These 2 are in, so I'm going to move this down. These are going to be the bottom layers here. So you can see, I just have to remember that these edges of the second layer of my center are correct. So now let's see what we've got over here. This isn't correct, this isn't correct, this isn't correct, this isn't correct, so there's a whole lot of moving around that needs to happen. This light green belongs over here or over here. So where's it going to go? Well, if I move it up here, it's going to be facing in this direction, and that's the direction that we want it to face. So this belongs over here. So I'm going to cycle it up there. So forward, forward, back, back, bang, zoom, pow, and splat. Okay, so this is here. Now let's find one next to it. What we also notice now is this is in, this is in, this is also correct over here. These have to sort of be laying on top of each other over here. So I've got 3 that are in. When I have 3 that are in, I'm going to move now this to the top, because when I 3 cycle it, I'm only going to have 1 that's going to be 3 cycles. So I'm going to turn it over here and turn it like this. So now this is ready to just do any type of 3 cycling. So what's in here? This is in, and that's really it. So where does this green one need to go? This green one needs to go here. Now I got to be careful. I don't want to close the story quite yet. Yeah, I'm going to move this blue one up, and this green one is going to come down. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green and move it here, because if I do it twice, I'm going to end up solving this side earlier than I want to. So forward, bang, bang. Now the worry with this is at any time with all of the vast numbers of these 3 cycles that I'm going to do, if at any point I end up with a 2 cycle, at any one of those points I'm in trouble. So my hope is to delay that process as much as possible. See how much I can get in before I have to start doing something really crafty. Okay, so this is up. I want to move this into here. So I'm actually just going to move this down here so that I can, this green one is in, I want the blue one in, this blue one is going to come down here. And this green is going to come up here, forward, back, back, bang, bang, zoom, pow, and we're good. Okay, this is correct, this is not correct actually. So we have a little bit of a problem there. So this needs to come over to here. So I'm going to move this over here. So this is in, and this is in. So these two appear to be in. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, so they're pointing in the correct direction. Okay, so I think we're going to be all right. I just confused myself with all these greens. So basically, this green isn't right, but in 2 algorithms, this green will go here and here and be where it needs to be. This will go here and here and be where it needs to be, and this will go here. This kind of looks like that 3 cycle. This looks like, well, everything is in, but I know from this rotation it's not. This is not in. And it looks like these 2 just need to be swapped? No. Okay, so let's take inventory. This is correct, this is correct, correct, correct. Righto, righto, you got it, looking good. Okay, so let's go ahead and just put these back in where they're supposed to be, like this. So you can see all of these corners are good, and we'll turn this here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to stick with the second layer of our centers, which are these guys, and now I've got to cycle these. So I'm going to once again do this in 2 sections. I'm going to cycle this to here. Yeah, this will go here, this will go here, and this will go here. Those are the cycles. Now there's a couple that might already be in. For instance, if you take a look just under this shape, you have the solid square. That's what this is. This is already in, so this we don't have to cycle. So I'm going to turn this here and try to find the one that's supposed to go underneath here. The one that lays on top of this is this. But it's not this piece. This piece can never come here. This belongs in this layer, not this layer. So I have to find the other green slice that comes over here, which I suspect is this, and it is. So this will come here, this will come here, and this will come down here. So what I'll have is I'll have these 2 where they need to be. So in order to isolate those, I'm going to move this layer, and not this layer, but this layer. If I do the same algorithm moving this layer and this layer, this is my R and this is my L, it will cycle those 3 pieces. If I move this layer and this layer, it's going to be cycling these pieces over here. So just by changing layers, I change my cycle. So let me tell you what I mean. This will come here, this will come here, and this will come here. So I'm just going to do that because it kind of fills in a lot of these. So forward, forward, back. And now it's this piece that I turn, it's going to be this layer. So now this is my new L. Turn this back. And now I just sort of undo what I did. That's the basic strategy. And down. All right, it might be hard to visualize, but I put this in. This is now correct. So this is correct. This is correct. This is not correct, and this is correct. So basically, in my 3 cycle, I'm going to keep this at the top because this is the only one that's going to be cycled. If I turn this here, eventually, well, actually keep this over here, this will cycle down to the orange, this green will come here, and this will come up here. Now, I don't know if I want to do that because this is going to walk me into this trap, and here's what this trap is. This trap is, this will be solved, this whole section will be solved. This green will be here, and this yellow will be here. So what this is, orange rather, is going to be here. So this will be solved over here. I'm going to have a green over here, and you can see that this green should be where this is. So what's going to happen is these 2 are going to have to be swapped. These 2 will not be correct. So Now there's no way to avoid it. I'm not going to be able to position it, so let me just show you what's going to happen. Forward, forward, back, back, bang, bang, zoom, pow. Okay, so here's the crux of this problem. This is in, this layer is in, this is in here, this is in, and this is in. So we're good. Looking over here, this is out, in, out. So you can see these two need to be swapped. And there's no such thing as a two cycle. I can't do my trick because normally what I would do is I would find, say, this blue one and cycle it through and swap these, swap it like that, but I can't. Because here's what's going to happen. These two cannot swap with each other. If I put this to here and this to here, this blue does not belong here. And this blue does not belong here, but this green will be here. So these two are stuck. So how do I get through this? Well, this is the unique thing about this puzzle, and this is how I navigate through it. Sometimes the best thing to do when nature throws you a curve is don't fight it. Let nature do what it's going to do. Just don't even fight it, and I'm not going to fight it. I'm going to continue the solve of this layer, keeping these two angled wrong. Because here's ultimately what I'm going to do. I'm going to now put in the other aspects of this layer. Instead of these, I'm going to put these guys in and start cycling these guys. Once I do that, I'm going to keep these portions of my middle corners out. I'm going to keep them out because then this is going to turn into an edge. This is going to turn into these two, and I'm going to act like they're edges. So let me tell you what I mean by that. I'm going to abandon this layer now. I'm going to let these two be wrong, and I'm going to start working on the other layers. So the other layers now is three cycling this layer, this and this. So this will come to here, this will come to here, and this will come to here. So these are going to three cycle. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. This is a yellow. Now, everything that I just did is not going to be touched by what I'm going to do because the thing about having all these layers is I'm isolating every layer that I have. So this will come here and be where it needs to be, which is fine. These are not going to be the edges that are going to be a problem. This will come here. These edges will be completely fine. If this comes here, this is where it needs to be. This will be where it needs to be. We're good. This will come here. This will come here, which is where we want it to be, just underneath this. The one on the this side over here, the short side will be one of these short squares. The long side will be one of the kind of long squares. This will come here, and this will come here. So now instead of this being my R, this is my R. And instead of, and this will still be my L over here because we're going to be three cycling these. So here's what I mean. Forward. So I put this here. Let's just kind of follow where this goes when I turn it. It goes over here. So now this comes up. This is my new L. And then I just reverse what I just did. Bang. Zoom. So as you can see, that is exactly what happened. This is all fine now. This entire side here is fine. And now this, what was here, went down here, so this is fine. And what was here went over here, so now that's fine. Now here's what I'm wondering. I'm looking at this. And I'm wondering, is this the right one? Is this the right center? Did I mess up on my centers here? Okay, I studied it a little more, and I think we're okay. I'm gonna move on, see where things work out. Okay, so we put this in, this is in, so now we're gonna continue our process of cycling what needs to be cycled. Now I'm gonna bear in mind the ones that are out. These two needed to flip. So because of that, these two edges will never be solved. I'm not going to go for the full solve with this, but I am going for the full solve with these guys here. So where's my blue? Here's my blue here. It's going to be the long blue, so it's right over here. So this will come here and put that in. This will come here and be wrong, and this will come here and be wrong, but that's fine for now. Forward. Bang, bang, zoom, pow, splat, Okay, so you see that this side anyway is looking better and better. This is all in. This is all in here. We have over here, I'm just going to move this like so. Because what's going to cycle now is this will come to here. This is in, so I don't want to really touch that. So instead, why don't we move this over here and this over here. Okay, so this green will come here where it needs to be. This will come here, and this will come here. Now the only problem is that all of these will have been solved. So what among here is correct? This is correct over here. So I think I have to start working on at least one. So what I'm going to do is put this here and do it twice. This will go 1, 2. So this will be in 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so 2 of these will put things pretty much where they need to be on both sides. So forward, forward, back, back, bang, zoom, pow, splat. Make sure you didn't mess up. No, good. And move it here. Okay, now we do it one more time. Forward, back, back, bang, zoom, pow, and splat. Okay, now let's get a lay of the land. You can see this is looking pretty good in here. Things are kind of where they need to be. Things are more or less where they're supposed to be. These are all right, except for this. This is incorrect. This over here. So let's find this one, which is here. Okay. So if I do this, this will all be correct. This will come here, which is correct. This will come here, which will mess that up. And this will come here, which will mess that up. Now what's going to happen is that these two are going to effectively be flipped. These two are going to have to be flipped, which is interesting because these two had to be flipped. So it's going to really be a similar situation. What I'm looking for is if these two are flipped, I want this to be out, both of these to be out, and both of these to be out. I don't want this one to be in. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make it to where this one is out and this one is protected. This one is saved. So I'm going to move this like so, because this is the one that I want to be screwed up. And the reason for that is I already have 2 here that need to be swapped. Now I want these 2 that need to be swapped, because then I have 2 that need to be swapped collectively. There's a method to my madness, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. Because I want all of these to be fine, but not these 2. These are going to become edges, and that's how I got out of this. So let's go ahead and do this once, actually twice, right? And you'll see what I mean. Yeah, okay, so forward, back, bang, bang, zoom, pow. Can't tell you how many times I accidentally messed it up by putting in the wrong layers, so I'm very cognizant of that. One more time, forward, back, turn, 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 turn. Okay, so what did I do, and why did I do it, and will I do it again, and should I never have even thought of doing it? So this is all in, right? We've got all this in over here. Here, everything is in except for these 2. These 2 are out now. So here's how I'm going to get out of this. This is correct in the way it's laid down, and this is correct. These 2 are incorrect where they are. The strategy that I'm going to use for this is going to echo the same strategy that I used for this when I had a similar situation. When I had a similar situation to where the first thing that I want to do is I want to get the correct sides 180 degrees from each other. Because if I do that, I can do potentially an algorithm to switch these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my correct sides, which is here and here, and I'm going to put them 180 degrees from each other and not 90 degrees from each other, because I want these facing 180 degrees. Once I do that, if this is here and this is here, I'm then going to do an algorithm to switch those two around. Exactly the same way that I did an algorithm to switch these two, to swap those. Because ultimately what you're going to find is these two are placed correctly in conjunction with these two. These both en masse have to come here, right? Purple to purple, green to green. These both en masse have to come over here. And these two edges are fine. So I'm going to solve with the same strategies that I had when I had to place these corners and they were actually out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it, I'm going to keep it here, I suppose. And I'm going to treat these two like they were edges. These have now become edges in my mind. Just like these two, when they're together, they can be looked as edges. So corners, edges. So too, corners, edges. And if I do it just right, if I do an adjacent edge swap, these two will swap. I'll create parity here and here. These two will create parity. And this center will rotate 180 degrees. Here's what I mean by that. If I were to take this and I wanted to swap these two en masse, I would do the adjacent edge swap with this up here. I go 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. These two did indeed swap. I created parity between here and here, which means I swapped those two. And this center rotated 180 degrees. So what was red is now here, what was blue is here. So that's what I'm going to do. And then what I do to get that out is I'm going to do a middle edge swap, which will rotate this back, and that way everything will be within 180 degrees. I'm just going to get this back here. So 2RU, 2RU, 2R2U, 2R2U, 2RU, 2RUI, 2R, no problem. So that is my strategy. Let's see if it works. Worked last time. Will it work this time? I don't know, but let's try. Now I have to be careful what's going to be moving and what's not going to be moving. I don't want to do too much extraneous motions between other sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be careful to just move the layer that I want moved. So adjacent edge swap. 2R, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so as promised, we have parity here and here, so don't panic. We're going to get that out. And what that predictably did, okay, is it swapped these two and turned the center by 180 degrees. These two did get swapped, you can tell, because that's over here where it needs to be, and this is over here where it needs to be. All these centers are fine, or all these edge portion of our centers are fine in the second layer. This got rotated 180 degrees. So now what I'm going to do, holding to this, is I'm going to do an opposite edge swap. These two will swap. This will rotate back. I'll get my parity out, and now the edges that are out are not going to be next to each other. They're going to be opposite each other. So let's do it. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. Predictably, parity fixed, no worries, no problems. Nothing was taken out over here. But what happened here is, take a look. These edges are fine. These edges are fine. These two now need to be swapped. This blue and orange comes up here. These come over here. That was part of my evil plan. That's what I wanted to do. Why did I want to do that? Well, I have a way of swapping these two. I've got an algorithm to do that now. So the problem wasn't trying to get it all in with the 3 cycles. Let nature take its course. Let it be wrong, but then fix it when we need to fix it. I had to actually get the centers back again, but I got us back to the same situation as before. This is all in, and now we have the same kind of thing here. These are actually lined up to where they're supposed to be, as is this. These two need to be swapped. But here's another way that you can do it. This is another way of causing these two to swap without causing any changes of the centers over here via a supercube way. So as you can see, this is green, dark green and yellow, needs to be here. This is light green and light blue, needs to be here. So the other way that you can do it, and I'm going to just move all of this as my R, and this is my U here. What I'm going to do is go like R to U, R to U, R to U, R to U, and R. And lo and behold, it does the same thing. This is now in. These edges, quote, edges part of the center are now lined up fine. This is good, this is good. So this was another algorithm that I sometimes pull out of my pocket in order to swap these two, quote, edges. The only price that was paid is, look at these corners. These corner parts of this layer of the center got skewed around. But that's okay. I think we can try to put those back in because all of them are out. If just two of them had to be swapped, we'd have trouble. But we don't, so maybe I can just manage to continue to 3-cycle them this way here. We did it. So basically, to sum up those steps, basically you put these in, you do that nifty algorithm, it shifts these around if that's what you did, and we managed to get these two. So we are cruising. Now that is a hurdle. My hope is that this puzzle has now been reset to where we can comfortably and easily get what we need in.